I got pregnant unexpectedly, but Fu Chen didn't believe me and thought I was just making up excuses to force a marriage. To punish me, he said there was an emergency at home and deliberately left me on the highway. I walked for 3 hours and finally fainted at the hospital entrance. When I woke up, I called Fu Cheng. The one answering the phone was his delicate little childhood friend. "Sis, it was me who asked Brother Chen to teach you a lesson. You won't blame me, right?" The noise was coming from outside. I heard several mutual friends urging each other to drink and play games, calling me to join. Me, I just had an abortion surgery, so I won't be going. On the other end of the phone, panic instantly set in. "Fu Chen, I'm pregnant." I was about to take the test results out of my bag to show Fu Chen when I heard him say impatiently, "Shiyun, are you annoying or what?" My hand paused, and I looked up at him in surprise. "What did you say?" I said. "Aren't you annoying? Always making up these excuses, and now you're trying to lie to me, saying you're pregnant, just to force me to marry you. Shiyun, can you stop being so dramatic?" I was stunned, my hand clutching the bag trembling uncontrollably. Am I acting up? I was simply seriously considering our future, asking him about his plans. After all, we have been together for 7 years and are no longer young. How did it become that I was the one making it up once it came out of Fu Chen's mouth? I took a deep breath, just about to explain to Fu Chen. When his phone rang, Fu Chen, who had been very impatient, instantly relaxed his expression upon seeing the caller ID. He answered the call, his tone carrying a gentleness even he hadn't noticed. "Hey, Qingya." Fu Chen glanced at me briefly, then walked out onto the balcony, unwilling to let me hear what he was saying. But when I heard that name, my heart immediately grew cold. Jiang Qingya, Fu Chen's childhood sweetheart, reunited with him 3 years ago after returning to the country. Since then, she has been like my nightmare, always accompanying me. The world between Fu Chen and me has always been mixed with Jiang Qingya's presence. Whenever I have the desire to complain to Fu Chen, he would justifiably retort to me, "Qingya and I grew up together since childhood, we are already family. She is my sister, why can't you accept her?" Family, younger sister. But Fu Chen's behavior was nowhere near treating Jiang Qingya as just a younger sister. I wiped the tears from the corner of my eyes, put the test report away, and zipped up. Every time Jiang Qingya's call came through, Fu Chen would always drop everything in his hands, including me. I've had enough. Why is it always me who has to wait? Maybe it's because of the hormonal imbalance from being pregnant, but I inexplicably feel a bit irritable right now. I picked up my bag. About to leave, Fu Chen suddenly pulled open the sliding door and called out to me, "Shiyun, wait a moment." I turned my head to look at the phone he had already hung up and couldn't help but laugh. It turned out he had just finished chatting with his good little sister and then thought of me again. I originally wanted to lose my temper with him, but thinking of the little life in my belly, I held back. "Fu Chen, what I just told you is true, I really am pregnant." But Fu Chen didn't even listen. He grabbed the coat on the sofa and said coldly, "Come out with me." I wanted to speak again, but Fu Chen had already passed me and reached the door, putting on his shoes. "Hurry up, won't you?" I wrinkled my nose, feeling like crying. Actually, it's not that I haven't noticed the problem. Fu Chen's attitude towards me has become increasingly impatient, but we've been together for 7 years, and everyone goes through a period of weariness. I thought it would get better after some time. But it seems it hasn't improved. I pressed my lips together, trying hard to suppress the slight trembling in my voice as I said to him, "Fu Chen, can you please listen to me first?" Fu Chen looked at me coldly. "I can, but you have to go out with me first." He is always like this, selfishly only caring about his own feelings. In this relationship, I keep accommodating him, but he seems to have forgotten to accommodate me. Actually, I had already planned to end our relationship some time ago. A relationship between 3 people is really too exhausting, but the unexpected pregnancy made me hesitate. Today, I talked to Fu Chen about this, also to test his attitude. If he is happy, I can put the past aside and enter into marriage with him to raise our children together. If he can't accept it, then at worst we part on good terms and the child will be with me. I am capable of raising a child on my own, but I never expected that Fu Chen would react like this, seeing my silence. Fu Chen impatiently asked again. You said you were pregnant, right? Then at least I'll take you to the hospital to find out if you're lying. I instinctively reached toward my lower abdomen. Alright, let's go. Once we get to the hospital, everything will be revealed. Fu Chen and I left the house. And he drove straight onto the highway without saying a word. I tried to ease the mood. Fu Chen, we already have a child. You should find a time to meet my parents. As soon as I finished speaking, he slammed on the brakes. I was thrown forward uncontrollably, almost crashing into him. Fu Chen, what on earth is wrong with you? But Fu Chen had a stern expression. Get out of the car. I was stunned, looking up at him in disbelief. What did you say? We're already out of the city and on the highway. And he wants me to get off. Fu Chen's face was cold. He unbuckled his seatbelt, got out of the car, came around to my side, bent down to unbuckle my seatbelt, and pulled me out of the car. I have an emergency at home, so I'm heading back first. You can go back on your own. I was stunned for a moment and looked around. Apart from the cars speeding by, there wasn't a single person walking on the road. You want me to go back by myself? How am I supposed to get back? Fu Chen gave me a cold glance and retorted, Shiyun, you're an adult. You've already lied to force a marriage, and you still can't figure out how to get home on your own. He turned around and got into the car without hesitation. I anxiously tried to open the car door, only to find that he had already locked it. Fu Chen, what are you doing? Open the door quickly. But the next second, Fu Chen's car sped away. I looked at the greenbelt across from me, and my emotions instantly collapsed. I tried calling Fu Chen, but he didn't answer, and eventually, his phone was turned off. I opened the ride-hailing app, but no drivers accepted the order. It's not even rush hour right now. Who would come to the highway for no reason? All I can do is walk back on my own two legs. I took a deep breath, forcing down the grievances in my heart, and got up to walk back. Right now, I no longer have any intention to discuss the child with Fu Chen. All I know is this relationship is coming to an end. Halfway there, I suddenly felt a sharp pain in my lower abdomen. It made me feel very uneasy, so I quickened my pace. Finally reaching the city center, I hurriedly hailed a taxi to the hospital. Because I had already noticed a stream of liquid flowing down my lower body, I was a bit scared, trembling all over even when I got off the car. I didn't know if it was because I was too nervous or if I had walked too long and lost my strength. As soon as I got off the car, I collapsed straight down to the ground and fainted. When I woke up, I saw several nurses gathered around me. You're awake. Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? I was stunned for a moment, looked at the 4-bag hanging above my head, and slowly shook my head. The nurse sighed. Wait here. I'll go call the doctor. The doctor soon came over, coldly informing me of my condition. Did the doctor not tell you when you were first diagnosed as pregnant? You shouldn't overexert yourself in the early stages of pregnancy. You've lost the baby, but you're still young, and medical technology is advanced nowadays. Remember to take good care of yourself during the postpartum period. Watch your diet carefully, and you'll still have chances to get pregnant in the future. The doctor went on, but I couldn't take in a word. I just stared blankly down at my lower abdomen. It was gone. Because of Fu Chen's farce, my child was gone. After I closed my eyes, I took out my phone and called Fu Chen. This time it wasn't turned off, and the call connected quickly, but a woman's voice came from the other end. Shijun, is there something you need? It was Jiang Qingya. The other end of the phone was very noisy, and I could even hear someone singing. The more lively it was over there, the colder I felt inside. So the family matters Fu Chen mentioned meant going to sing with Jiang Qingya. That's right. Fu Chen hasn't even answered a single call on the road, so how could he suddenly say there's something going on at home? So, Fu Chen deliberately left me on the highway, didn't he? I gripped the cup tightly, my voice hollow. Where is Fu Chen? I have something to ask him. Jiang Qingya smiled and said, Brother Chen is playing games with them. If Sister Shiyun has something to say, you can tell me first. She seemed to have turned on the speaker. And the noisy voices on the other end became clearer. There were also a few familiar voices urging someone to drink. Jiang Qingya laughed again, speaking coquettishly. Sister Shiyun, if it's because of what Brother Chen did to you on the highway just now, I apologize. Brother Chen said you even lied about being pregnant to force him into marriage. Sister, it was me who asked Brother Chen to teach you a lesson. You won't blame me, right? Immediately after, I heard Fu Chen's voice. Neither too loud nor too soft. Why are you telling her these things? It's her problem to begin with. What right does she have to blame you? A mutual friend nearby spoke up to smooth things over, constantly saying nice things and even calling me over on the phone to join them, but I was so tense all over that I couldn't say a word. I originally wanted to confront Fu Chen, to ask him if he knew that he had caused a life to be lost, but now, nothing matters anymore. No wonder after he finished the call with Jiang Qingya, he was so impatient that he asked me to go out with him. It was just because Jiang Qingya wanted him to punish me a little. I suddenly couldn't help but laugh out loud, laughing at myself for being such an idiot. I actually still hope to have a proper talk with Fu Chen. Fu Chen on the other end of the phone probably heard my laughter and sounded a bit displeased. Shijun, it seems you haven't learned your lesson yet. You can still laugh. I cut him off coldly. I just had an abortion surgery. You guys have fun. I won't be going. The next second, it suddenly went quiet on the other side. Shijun, are you annoying or what? Are you addicted to lying? Why don't you say you got hit by a car and that's why you lost the baby? Listening to Fu Chen's constant accusations, I couldn't even feel sad. I should be very sad. But now, on the contrary, I feel quite relieved that the last bond with Fu Chen is gone. Moreover, I suddenly feel a bit thankful to Jiang Qingya. If it weren't for her idea, I still wouldn't have been able to cut my losses in time. I kept a cold face, took the pile of documents from the bedside, took photos of them one by one, then took out the previous test reports and photographed them as well, sending everything to Fu Chen. I've taken photos of all kinds of documents and sent them to you. I think you shouldn't have forgotten that my name is Shiyun. There was complete silence on the other side, and Fu Chen remained silent as well. After a long while, I heard Jiang Qingya say, "Could it be that all these reports are photoshopped?" I smiled coldly. "Miss Jiang, privately photoshopping hospital examination reports is illegal. I hope you can spend some of the energy you use to steal men on improving your basic knowledge. Oh, by the way, I see you really admire your brother Chen. Well then, I'll be generous and let him go to you. Wishing you happiness and a long life together. I hope Miss Jiang will also end up like your brother Chen you mentioned today, pregnant, abandoned on the highway, forced to walk back to the city on her own legs, collapsing at the hospital entrance and having a miscarriage." I didn't wait for the person on the other end to respond and hung up immediately. The nurse standing beside me looked as if she had just witnessed a huge scandal. Her gaze toward me changed completely. Maybe she thought my curse went against the current 3-child policy. I shrugged and asked casually, "When can I leave?" The nurse responded, "Once the 4-drip is finished." The nurse then gave me a long list of instructions, mainly about precautions after a miscarriage. In the end, she gently patted my shoulder. "Don't be too sad. If it's a scumbag like that, then it's better to break up. You'll definitely meet someone better. It's better not to have a child with such a scumbag." I smiled and said nothing. 7 years of feelings. How could they just disappear like that? Fu Chen and I met during our university days and walked together from campus into society. We argued and quarreled, but never once considered breaking up. The old Fu Chen was very good at observing my mood changes and always put effort into comforting me. When did it start to change? It should have been after Jiang Qingya returned to the country. It was supposed to be a world for just the two of us. But Jiang Qingya had to be mixed in. After being busy with work for a long time, I had made plans with Fu Chen to go to Disneyland together, but just before we set off, I was informed that Jiang Qingya would be joining us on our anniversary date as a couple. Jiang Qingya always managed to find different excuses to join us and spend time together. Sometimes, she would even come to the door late at night in her pajamas, knocking and saying the water pipe at her place was broken and she needed to stay with us for the night. More and more little things piled up, making my temper increasingly irritable, ready to explode at the slightest provocation. But Fu Chen no longer coaxed me like he used to. He only told me to understand him, to learn to tolerate and accommodate him. I learned, enduring again and again, only to be met with him taking advantage even more, and in the end, All I got was Fu Chen's impatient "Are you annoying or what?" I think that little nurse was quite right, a child of a man like that, if lost, then lost. The only thing I regret now is the promotion opportunity one turned down for Fu Chen back then. After leaving the hospital, it was already almost midnight. I didn't dare to stay any longer, fearing I might catch a cold from the wind, so I quickly called a taxi and went home. Fu Chen hadn't come back. He probably truly believed what Jiang Qingya said and was convinced that the documents I sent were photoshopped. He has always trusted Jiang Qingya's words. But never mind, I don't care anymore now. This house is rented together by Fu Chen and me. After finishing the postpartum confinement period, I need to consider renting another place. But looking at the traces of my careful decoration in the house, I think it's better to have Fu Chen move out. I picked up my phone intending to order takeout to replenish my energy, but remembering the nurse's advice, I forced myself to get up and cooked a bowl of porridge for myself in the end. Halfway through eating, Fu Chen came back. I glanced at him, then lowered my head to continue drinking the porridge. Fu Chen quickly walked up to me and asked unhappily, "Shijun, why didn't you answer my call?" I looked up in confusion. "Did you call me?" "Oh. Maybe I was cooking porridge just now and didn't hear it. Sorry about that." Fu Chen pressed his lips together, his tone softening a bit. "When did you come back? Are you asking me when I returned to the city, or when I got home? If it's about going home, I probably got back just over an hour before you." Fu Chen tugged at his tie and moved a little closer to me, but I felt a bit nauseous because of the smell of alcohol on him, so I quickly stood up and pushed him away. "Stay away from me. The smell of alcohol on you is too strong." Fu Chen's face instantly darkened. He frowned, grabbed my hand, and asked, "Can you stop being so sarcastic?" I was a bit speechless and tried to break free from him, but my body was too weak to have any strength. "Fu Chen, can you understand what I'm saying? When I told you I was pregnant, you thought I was forcing marriage. When I told you I had a miscarriage, you still thought I was lying. When I told you not to come near me because you smelled of alcohol, you thought I was being sarcastic." "Fu Chen, I am not Jiang Qingya. I don't use sarcasm. Everything I said is true." Fu Chen pressed his lips together. "Then what did you mean on the phone when you said you were giving me to Qingya? How many times do I have to tell you before you understand? Qingya and I are innocent. She is my family, and I only treat her like a sister. You're dirty yourself. So do you think everyone else is dirty too?" I immediately turned cold, summoning strength to slap him hard. "Dirty? Fu Chen, can I be as dirty as you?" I was panting heavily, enduring the pain in my lower body as I grabbed my phone. After scrolling for a while, I slammed Jiang Qingya's moments right in Fu Chen's face. "Can I be as dirty as you, Fu Chen?" Fu Chen's eyes widened, looking utterly incredulous. I don't know. I was already asleep at that time. I frowned and put away my phone. "I know, I'm not stupid. I asked a mutual friend and found out that it was her who posted that friends only moment visible only to me, taking a photo of you lying on her bed after stripping you, posting some ambiguous words. It was all just to drive me crazy and make me argue with you. But Fu Chen, you are the least qualified to say that you and Jiang Qingya are innocent, if you had this sense of boundaries. Something like Jiang Qingya taking advantage of a loophole wouldn't have happened at all." After Fu Chen made such a fuss, I lost my appetite and couldn't eat anymore. I directly threw the bowls and chopsticks into the sink and moved back to the bedroom. It was quiet outside for a while. Then I heard a series of clattering sounds, and soon after, the sound of a door closing. Fu Chen should have left. I breathed a sigh of relief and lay down on the bed. If he had the nerve to come in and sleep together again, I would definitely break down. After all, I thought I had made it very clear on the phone that it was just that I was feeling unwell and could only stay here temporarily. Perhaps people become more sentimental late at night, now that I am lying in bed. I actually feel a bit melancholic. Later, the reminder sound from my phone interrupted my thoughts. I opened it and found a message from my boss. Only then did I remember that I hadn't asked for leave yet. The doctor's advice was to rest in bed for half a month. I didn't dare to joke with my own health, so I reluctantly sent a message to my boss explaining the situation. My boss immediately called me and scolded me thoroughly. Most of it was feeling it wasn't worth it. that I had ended up like this because of a man. She scolded me quite harshly, which actually cleared the gloomy mood I had just been in. After she finished scolding me, my boss continued, "About the matter I asked you to consider last time, do you have any thoughts now?" I was stunned and cautiously asked, "Is there still a chance?" Not long ago, my boss, Sister Man, told me that headquarters plans to transfer her to manage a branch office in another city. Sister Man is the supervisor, and there is one more spot available to go with her. She planned to let me go, but at that time, considering my relationship with Fu Chen, I declined the opportunity. I didn't expect that there would still be a chance. Well, the headquarters gave a deadline of 1 month, and it's still early. I haven't reported it yet. So, what are you thinking now? What else could I think? Love is not going well, and my career can't stay stagnant any longer. I quickly agreed. Sister Man was also straightforward and said she would report me in a few days. Procedures still take some time. It's not that fast. You might as well take this time to rest well. Your health is the most important. After hanging up the phone, I let out a sigh of relief. Gains come with losses. Indeed, it's hard to have both love and career. I couldn't help but smile bitterly, but I didn't regret my decision. At least the future is still full of hope. The next day I lay at home all day, ordered some takeout, then got up to cook a little. Actually, I haven't cooked for myself in a long time. During this time with Fu Chen, there were endless arguments that left me physically and mentally exhausted. I tried to ease the relationship between us, but we would always break up again after just a few days because of Jiang Qingya. She is like a ticking time bomb, ready to explode because of her at any moment. I just didn't expect the explosion to be so dramatic. I sighed, unwilling to think about it anymore, and climbed back into bed to play on my pad. Without these worries, I felt unusually relaxed and finally caught up on all the shows I hadn't had time to watch. In the evening, however, Fu Chen suddenly called me. I hesitated for a moment but still answered. "Is there something you need?" Fu Chen spoke lightly, as if nothing had happened. "Shiyun, when do you get off work? I'll come pick you up to have dinner." I glanced at the time. It was indeed time for dinner. "No need. I can't eat anything too strong-flavored for now." I was about to hang up when I heard Jiang Qingya's voice on the other end. "Sis, sorry about that. Yesterday I was just joking around with Brother Chen. It was me who asked Brother Chen to contact you today because I want to treat you to a meal and apologize. Please be kind and accept." Okay, hearing that sickly sweet voice gave me goosebumps all over. As expected, a woman's intuition is always accurate. I didn't like Jiang Qingya from the moment I first saw her. She asked me out to eat, nothing different from before, just using the opportunity to show me how in sync she and Fu Chen were, to make me jealous, to make me angry, to make me argue with Fu Chen again. I knew her intentions, but every time I still couldn't help but argue with Fu Chen because of it, because at that time, I cared about Fu Chen's thoughts, cared about whether he still loved me. But now, I just feel bored. No need, just enjoy your meal yourselves. Don't call me unless it's important. I need to rest well and take care of my health, not keep being tormented by these things. But obviously, I still overestimated Jiang Qingya's shamelessness. I was woken up at night by a burst of noise. Hearing loud laughter from the living room, I got out of bed and opened the door. I saw Jiang Qingya and Fu Chen sitting on the carpet holding game controllers. Jiang Qingya laughed so hard that she fell directly into Fu Chen's arms. Even seeing me come out didn't move them. I raised an eyebrow and knocked on the wall. "Miss Jiang, Mr. Fu, you can play, but could you keep it down? I've paid half the rent for this place too. I'm a tenant here and have the right to ask you to do so." Fu Chen frowned. "Shiyun, I have a name. It seems he really dislikes me calling him so formally." I disagreed. "Then may I trouble Mr. Fu Chen, could you and your little girlfriend be a bit quieter? What nonsense are you talking about? My girlfriend is you." I smiled indifferently, not missing Jiang Qingya's resentful expression. It seems I wasn't straightforward enough that day. Fu Chen actually still thinks we're in a relationship. Then I'll have to find a time to talk to him properly. Jiang Qingya coquettishly pushed Fu Chen. "Brother Chen, look at your tone, it's way too harsh. No wonder Sister Shiyun is upset with you." "Sister, don't be mad at Brother Chen, that's just his personality. tough on the outside but soft-hearted. He actually cares about you. By the way, we packed some food for you to eat tonight. Are you hungry? Should I heat it up for you? She said this and got up, heading to the kitchen. Taking out several plastic containers from the fridge, I glanced at them. They were all greasy and spicy dishes, and it was obvious they were leftovers from their meal. Are they trying to say I only deserve to eat leftovers? I laughed. If it were before, I definitely would have started making a fuss, but I'm tired. And my health isn't good now. The doctor also said I need to keep a happy mood. I really have no need to harm my own body for people who are unrelated. I smiled. I guess you must really like these dishes since only a little is left. Don't be polite, just finish it yourself. I turned to look at Fu Chen. Mr. Fu Chen, may I ask if you still want to play? If you do, I'll leave first. Fu Chen suddenly stood up from the ground, looking at me with a tense expression. Where are you going? You guys are making so much noise. It's hard for me to rest well. I'll just go out and book a hotel to sleep for the night. Fu Chen obviously remembered something. His face turning pale, he quickly grabbed me. No need, I'll take her home right now. I didn't pay attention to what he said. After all, there had been similar situations before, where he and Jiang Qingya woke me up late at night. But at that time, Fu Chen just casually said to me, "Why don't you just go out and stay at a hotel for a night?" Now Fu Chen has changed, but that's fine too, so I don't have to go out and catch the wind late at night. But Fu Chen, as if afraid I would object, quickly grabbed his coat and pulled Jiang Qingya to leave. Jiang Qingya pouted unhappily and muttered softly, "Brother Chen, I haven't finished playing yet." Fu Chen frowned and walked past her straight to the door. "I'm not going to say it twice. Come with me now and I can still send you back, if you don't want to. Then take a taxi home yourself." I sat on the sofa, leisurely watching these. I thought Fu Chen would never lose his temper with Jiang Qingya, but in the end, Jiang Qingya is still somewhat special. If it were me, I would have complained to Fu Chen like this. Fu Chen would probably just drive me away and make me take a taxi by myself. When Fu Chen came back and saw me still sitting on the sofa, he was clearly a bit surprised. I yawned and stood up from the sofa. If it weren't to explain things clearly to him, I would have wanted to hurry back to bed. "Please clean up the trash in the living room when you have time." Fu Chen nodded and quickly walked over to me, draping his coat over me. "Am I not cold sitting here waiting for you? Shiyun, how much longer are you going to be mad at me before you forgive me? I know I shouldn't have treated you that way back then. I'm sorry, I've deeply reflected on it. Shall we go back to how things were before? We were very happy then, weren't we?" "Yes, we really were happy before, even when we had just graduated and had no money, and could only rent a basement. We were still happy, but that happiness is now so far away, I can hardly remember it anymore." I smiled and took off his coat, handing it to him. "I'm not angry anymore, Fu Chen. You said it yourself, that was in the past. How can a person keep looking back all the time, just like now, because of the miscarriage? I have to stay in bed at home for half a month. I can't keep looking back, wondering if things wouldn't have happened if I hadn't gotten in the car with you that day. Do you think that makes any sense? What has happened, has happened. Fu Chen, you're not an indecisive person. By the way, I think you might not have understood what I meant the other day. Since you're here today, I'll make it clear to you. I've already made up my mind, with you, Shijun." Fu Chen interrupted me with a trembling voice, looking somewhat uneasy. "It's already late tonight. You should go rest. We'll talk again when you're feeling better." He said this and pushed me into the bedroom, not giving me a chance to speak. "Forget it. There's still some time anyway. It's not too late to talk after I've recovered." The next day when I got up, I found that the living room had been cleaned up by Fu Chen. Moreover, he unusually didn't go out to work and even made breakfast. He saw me get up, then walked over and helped me to the dining table. I asked for leave from the company. "I'll be at home with you during this time, taking care of you. Is that okay?" I pursed my lips, knowing that Fu Chen was trying to make amends with me. Just like a long time ago when we argued, he would patiently coax me like this. I originally wanted to refuse outright. But seeing him busy bringing me porridge and blowing on it until it wasn't hot before placing it in front of me, I suddenly felt that letting him take care of me wasn't so bad after all. After all, it was because of him that I had a miscarriage in the first place. It is only right that he takes care of me now. I nodded lightly, which counted as agreeing. Fu Chen was somewhat pleased and began to carefully take care of me, apart from the basic physiological need to get up and go to the bathroom. He basically didn't let me get out of bed much, obviously. Fu Chen had done some homework. Every day he studied how to nourish me, cooking meals for me in various ways. If it were before, I guess I would have been delighted for a long time already. After all, Fu Chen rarely cooks for me. It's not that he's being chauvinistic, it's just that his cooking is quite average. But even so, when he used to cook a meal for me, I would be very happy, because I felt it was a gesture of affection. He spent his precious time making a meal for me, but now, I feel nothing inside. Eat when it's time to eat, sleep when it's time to sleep, just treat him like a free babysitter, and there's nothing wrong with that. More than half a month passed like this, and my body recovered quite well. I said goodbye to Sister Man and then prepared to return to the company to work. Sister Man told me that the dispatch from headquarters had already been issued, but it would be in half a month. In other words, I still have to stay in this city for another half month. As soon as I stepped out, I saw Fu Chen standing nearby. Going to work, I'll give you a ride. I nodded, not refusing. Why not use free labor if it's available? I just didn't expect to run into Jiang Qingya as soon as we got downstairs. Jiang Qingya smiled happily and trotted over to Fu Chen's side. Brother Chen, what a coincidence. I just moved here and ran into you all. She let out a light hum and gently punched Fu Chen's chest. It's all Brother Chen's fault. You haven't been taking me to work lately. I had no choice but to move somewhere closer to the company. Oh, Sister Shiyun is here too. What a coincidence. From now on, we'll be living in the same neighborhood. Neighbors, I smiled politely, saying nothing. Instead, Fu Chen frowned and pushed Jiang Qingya away. Stay away from me. I have a girlfriend. He turned back to look at me and said, let's go. You just got back to work. It wouldn't be good if you're late. Seeing Jiang Qingya looking at me with some resentment, I smiled at her and turned to leave. I have to say, this feeling is pretty great, but over the past 2 weeks, I've already thought it through clearly. I will not change my mind just for a little bit of pleasure. From the moment I had a miscarriage, my love for Fu Chen had completely faded away, no matter how he tries to make up for it now, or how he rejects Jiang Qingya. To me, it is just like a bystander watching a play. Just as Fu Chen and I walked up to his car, we heard Jiang Qingya scream from behind. Fu Chen instinctively turned his head to look at her. I glanced over and saw Jiang Qingya crouching on the road, holding her ankle. Her eyes were slightly red, and she looked at Fu Chen with a wronged expression. Brother Chen. I twisted my ankle. It hurts so much. Fu Chen pursed his lips, seeming to hesitate. I smiled and said to him very considerately, you go check it out, I'll manage to get to work on my own. Fu Chen anxiously called out to me, Shiyun, can you wait for me a moment? I'll take her home first and then send you to work. I smiled and shook my head to refuse. It's okay, you go take care of her. Isn't she injured? She must be more important. I don't want to be late, so I won't wait for you. I had just arrived at the company when I saw that Fu Chen had sent me a lot of messages, explaining things to me and apologizing. He even asked me what I was having for lunch. He never used to be like this before. It's almost as if our roles have been reversed. I used to be the one sending him all kinds of messages, and he would only reply with a sentence or two occasionally. It was either that he was busy or on his way to being busy. Now, seeing all the messages he's sending, I suddenly understand how he must have felt when he received all those messages from me back then. Annoyed, when I didn't love him, everything he did was wrong. I set Fu Chen's messages to do not disturb and started working seriously. There were too many things waiting for me to handle as soon as I returned to work. On top of that, I still needed to quickly hand over the tasks I had to the people below me. I had a very fulfilling day, barely taking a few bites for lunch before finishing. I was busy until very late before I left the company. As soon as I got home, I saw a pile of prepared dishes on the table, and Fu Chen was lying asleep on the sofa. I didn't pay attention and went straight to the bedroom, but unexpectedly Fu woke up immediately. You're back, I nodded, looking at him with some apology. Sorry for waking you up. Fu Chen pressed his lips together, his eyes somewhat dim. Why didn't you reply to the message I sent you? I scratched my head and used the same phrase he once used. I've been too busy today, haven't had time to touch my phone. Have you eaten? I cooked. Want me to heat some up for you? I shook my head. It's too late, better get some rest early, and I've already eaten near the company. Fu Chen hurriedly stood up from the sofa, his voice trembling slightly. Shiyun, can you please not talk to me in that tone? I know you're very angry. I can explain to you. Qingya is just childish. She didn't mean anything else. I sighed and pushed away his hand that was holding mine. Fu Chen, I'm really not angry. I am genuinely busy. I have no interest in getting involved with whatever is between you and Jiang Qingya. I've finished my postpartum confinement, and you've fulfilled your last obligation. We should have a proper talk now. Fu Chen glanced away in panic and picked up his phone. Sorry, Shiyun, I suddenly got a call. Let's talk later. He hurriedly walked to the door, put on his shoes, and ran off without even daring to look at me. Maybe it was because he just lied and felt guilty. After all, his phone hadn't even rung a moment ago. I sighed, feeling somewhat helpless. What's the use of him constantly avoiding it? It won't change the facts. Forget it. Anyway, when the time comes, I'll go my way. Breakups between adults don't have to involve some kind of ceremonial feeling to be called a breakup. Early the next morning, I saw a message from Fu Chen. He said he had to go on a business trip for a while and would have a proper talk with me when he returned. I could tell he was avoiding me, but I was already too tired to spend more time having a proper talk with him. I didn't reply to Fu Chen. Instead, he would occasionally send me messages sharing his life. It seemed he really did go on a business trip, and he even sent me his location. He would regularly share what he ate and what he saw. Even when passing by a flower shop, he would take a photo and send it to me. The flower arrangements at this shop are quite beautiful, but unfortunately, by the time I buy them and bring them home to give to you, they will have withered. This actually reminded me of something. I used to really like these ceremonial things, enjoying receiving flowers from Fu Chen on special days. But Fu Chen refused. Why do you girls like these flashy but useless things? Every time it's Valentine's Day or 520. The price of flowers just skyrockets. It's a rip-off. Why not use that money to have a really good meal instead? At that time, I actually thought he was quite right. After all, flowers are something that don't really matter much. Having them is just a nice extra. I don't think Fu Chen being so practical is a huge fault. But later on, I saw Jiang Qingya's moments, and saw photos of Fu Chen carefully picking out flowers for her in front of a flower shop. I just realized that what is called pragmatism is nothing more than treating people differently. I pouted and exited Fu Chen's chat window. The time for me to leave is approaching, and my colleagues specially arranged a celebration for me today. I have no need to let myself fall into painful memories. When it was time to get off work, I had just arrived at the dinner spot with my colleagues when I received a call from Fu Chen. My flight is back tonight. Xiaoyun, can you come pick me up? I glanced at my colleagues beside me who were enthusiastically discussing the order, and apologized to Fu Chen. Sorry, we have a company dinner tonight. I can't leave. You're an adult too. Why not just take a taxi home? There was silence on the other end of the phone. After a long while, Fu Chen softly said, I'm sorry. I smiled and hung up the phone. I knew why he suddenly said sorry to me. He must have been thinking about the time I went on a business trip and asked him to pick me up at the airport. At that time, my flight was also at night, and I landed in the early morning. Before I took off, I called Fu Chen and asked if he could come to pick me up that night. Fu Chen then told me, Qingya is sick. I can't leave. You should come back on your own. You're an adult now. Just take a taxi home. Isn't that fine, now that our identities have been swapped? I can also understand what Fu Chen was thinking back then. It's just that this person wasn't important. After having dinner with my colleagues, we went to a KTV to sing and drink together. By the time I got home, it was already midnight, and Fu Chen had returned as well. He sat quietly in front of the sofa, not knowing what he was thinking. I rubbed my head, feeling some pain, and planned to go straight to the bedroom to rest, but was stopped by Fu Chen. You're leaving, why didn't you tell me? I was stunned and turned to look at Fu Chen. It was only when I saw the stack of papers in his hand that I realized. This morning, I had casually placed the contract for the transfer on the table before heading out. I walked up to him and took the contract. Yeah, it was already decided before. I wanted to have a proper talk with you, but haven't you been avoiding me all along? I'm too tired to say anything more. I didn't mean to avoid you. Fu Chen pressed his lips together. His expression somewhat gloomy, then, excitedly, he grabbed my hand. If you leave, what am I supposed to do? How long will you be gone? When will you come back? Xiaojun, please don't leave me. Okay, I sighed and gently patted him. Fu Chen, don't be so selfish. I wanted to tell you many times before, but you interrupted me yourself. You knew what I was going to say, didn't you? Fu Chen's eyes were slightly red, and he trembled as he held me tightly in his arms. Is it because of Qingya? I know, it must be because of her. Right, I will keep my distance from her from now on. If you don't like it, I can delete all her contact information. I can be strangers with her. Also, about that moment in the friend circle, I questioned her about it, and she has realized her mistake. This kind of thing won't happen again, and I won't be alone with her anymore. Xiaojun, please don't leave me, okay? Or I'll quit my job and go with you. Alright, I'll find a new job. And we can live in another city just the same. As long as you're by my side, I don't have to stay here. I laughed out loud. Fu Chen, you actually know you've crossed the line with Jiang Qingya, don't you? Fu Chen's body stiffened, and he was silent for a long time. I gently pushed him away and smiled at him. Fu Chen, then why couldn't you set boundaries with Jiang Qingya when I reasoned with you before? You just took advantage of the fact that I love you, that I wouldn't leave you. You enjoyed my 100% devoted love while indulging in the ambiguous relationship with Jiang Qingya that was more than friends but less than lovers, but I won't wait for you to turn back forever. Fu Chen. Fu Chen's eyes instantly turned red, and he almost crazily wanted to rush forward and hold me. You don't have to wait for me anymore. Xiaoyun, I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Will you forgive me? Please give me one more chance. I sighed and pried his hand apart. Fu Chen. After all these years together, don't make it so hard. Let's part on good terms. I turned around and walked into the bedroom, paused for a moment, and then said, I will pack my bags and leave tomorrow. Anyway, there are only a few days left before leaving, so whether I pack early or late, it's the same. The next day, when I finished packing and came out of the bedroom, I noticed Fu Chen was still sitting motionless by the sofa. When he saw me come out, he quickly got up. I'll see you off. He directly took my suitcase and walked towards the door, not giving me a chance to refuse. He had just opened the door when Jiang Qingya, who had rushed over, tightly hugged him. Brother Chen, why did you delete all my contact information? Do you know how devastated I was when I woke up this morning and saw your messages were gone? We grew up together since childhood. Why did you delete me? I smiled as I took the suitcase from Fu Chen's hand. I'm leaving first. You guys keep busy. Only then did Jiang Qingya realize I was there. She glared at me and said through gritted teeth, did you secretly take Chen Gij's phone and delete me? You're disgusting. I smiled skeptically, too lazy to argue with her any further. She's dirty herself, yet she thinks everyone else is dirty. I carried my suitcase downstairs, looked up at the bright sun, and couldn't help squinting. The future should be as sunny and bright as today. Next, moving on to the next story. When I lost consciousness after being mauled by the tiger, my husband immediately closed the car door and fled the scene with his secretary. I was sent to the ICU, in a deep coma, and lost an arm. Yet my husband was carefully tending to the secretary who only had a scratched arm. I screamed at him, demanding to know why he didn't get someone to save me. He looked completely impatient. Qingyu has delicate skin and can't stand any pain. I was completely disheartened by him and asked for a divorce. He thought I was just jealous and throwing a tantrum. But this time, I really won't turn back. When the tiger's sharp teeth pierced my skin, I broke out in a cold sweat all over. I felt like I was about to faint in the next second, but the extreme pain forced me to stay awake. I looked at Shen Qingyu, who was curled up in Ji Chuan's arms out of fear, trembling all over. At this moment, my husband Ji Chuan was looking at Shen Qingyu's slightly scratched arm with eyes full of concern. I gritted my teeth against the pain and begged them for help. Quick, find someone to save me. but I saw Ji Chuan slam the car door shut and leave arrogantly, his eyes not giving me the slightest glance. When they left, I saw Shen Qingyu lift her head from Ji Chuan's embrace and look at me, revealing a triumphant smile. An overwhelming wave of despair crashed over me, sending sharp pains through my heart. Ji Chuan and I had been in love for 7 years. When did his entire gaze become occupied by Shen Qingyu? No, I can't just die like this. I want those two scoundrels to pay the price. The intense hatred ignited my will to survive. Ignoring the pain from the tiger's bite, I shouted for help loudly. Just before I lost consciousness, a patrol vehicle from the scenic area drove toward me. I could no longer hold on and fainted. When I woke up, I only saw my subordinate Lei sitting by my bedside, quietly sobbing. She saw that I was awake, quickly wiped away her tears, and looked at me worriedly. "Sister Li, you're finally awake. You've been unconscious for a week. How do you feel now? Is there anywhere uncomfortable? Should I call the doctor?" I weakly shook my head, trying to wave her closer, but I couldn't feel the presence of my right hand no matter what. I wanted to turn my head to look, but my neck was fixed, preventing me from moving. The pain from the tiger's attack that day struck again. I seemed to realize something, my voice trembling. "Lei, tell me, is my right hand gone?" Tears instantly welled up in Lei's eyes. "Sister Li, the doctor said you were brought in too late. Your entire arm was torn apart by the tiger and is beyond repair, so it can't be reattached." My mind exploded with a loud bang. I had never imagined that one day I would become disabled. I closed my eyes and let the tears slide down my cheeks. Lei spoke cautiously. "Sister Li, I've already informed President Ji that you woke up. He'll be here soon." No sooner had she finished speaking than I heard Ji Chuan's voice. "Shushu, you finally woke up. I've been very worried about you these past few days." I looked at Ji Chuan, my tone calm. "Ji Chuan, where were you during the days I was being treated?" Ji Chuan's eyes flickered evasively. "Qingyu's arm is injured, so I've been taking care of her these past few days. I saw you hadn't woken up, so I let Lei watch over you. I'll come back once you wake up." Hearing the name Shen Qingyu, the very person responsible for me losing my arm, set off all my emotions. "Ji Chuan, do you know it was Shen Qingyu who opened the car door, causing me to fall and get my arm bitten off by the tiger? She's the culprit. My arm is gone. And what about her? She only got a scratch, yet you stay by her side day and night. Is that right?" Ji Chuan frowned, his face full of impatience. "What nonsense are you talking about? How could Qingyu have deliberately opened the door? She's a good girl. Don't slander her out of jealousy. Besides, young girls have the most delicate skin and can't stand any pain. That's why I was with her." I felt deeply desolate inside. In Ji Chuan's eyes, Shen Qingyu was a good girl, while I was just a jealous liar. "Ji Chuan. Oh Ji Chuan, you care that she can't stand the pain of a scraped skin. But what about me? My entire arm was exposed to the tiger's mouth, even torn so badly that the whole arm was gone. Don't you think I would feel pain, even though I was completely disappointed in Ji Chuan?" Hearing him blatantly favor Shen Qingyu still made my heart ache faintly. I didn't want to argue with him anymore. "Ji Chuan, I've completely given up on you. Let's get a divorce." Ji Chuan tugged at his tie. "I already said. There's no use me being here if you're not awake. Once you woke up, didn't I come right away? What are you still making a fuss about?" He noticed my empty arm stiffen for a moment, and his tone softened. "I know you can't bear this blow. Don't worry, I won't despise you. Prosthetic technology is very advanced now. You don't need to worry. I just find it ridiculous." His face, as if I should be grateful to him to the point of tears, is truly disgusting. "Ji Chuan, ask yourself honestly. When you took Shen Qingyu away, did you ever think I would be bitten to death by a tiger there? You didn't even help me make an emergency call." Ji Chuan's expression froze, but he still defended himself. "I knew there were patrols in the scenic area. I thought the staff would definitely save you. I only left because Qingyu kept crying out in pain." So in Ji Chuan's mind, my life was that unimportant. He valued even the small wound on Shen Qingyu's arm more than me. 7 years of love couldn't compare to Shen Qingyu's 3 months. Could the 7-year itch really be an unbreakable curse? "Ji Chuan, I don't want to hear your excuses anymore. Once I'm discharged, we're getting a divorce. Just as Ji-chuan was about to say something more, Shen Qingyu suddenly rushed in. Kneeling by my hospital bed with tears streaming down her face, "Sister Li, I know you don't like me, but please don't take it out on President Li, he really loves you. If you don't want to see me, I can resign, I swear I won't appear in front of you again." I quietly watched Shen Qingyu's performance, which could be called the origin of the Green Tea Act. I have seen this routine too many times and can easily see her true intentions. But Ji-chuan just happens to fall for it every time. Ji-chuan couldn't bear to see her wronged and tenderly helped her up. "Li Shu, that's enough. Don't drag Qingyu into the conflict between you and me," I sneered sarcastically. She came in and immediately started slapping labels on me, and I didn't say a word. "And now you're the one accusing me. Since I woke up, have you ever asked me if it hurts? Have you ever cared about me? Since you care about her so much, I'll let you two be." A trace of secret joy flashed in Shen Qingyu's eyes, but her face still looked tearfully sorrowful. "Sister Li, President Ji came to keep me company because he saw I had no one to take care of me. He didn't deliberately avoid seeing you. He's also very upset that you lost your hand. Please don't be angry with him anymore." Shen Qingyu's words were really impressive. She not only flaunted that Ji-chuan had been taking care of her, but also reopened the wound of my missing arm. All while leaving a considerate impression in front of Ji-chuan, I looked at her coldly. "Shen Qingyu, what if I told the police that you opened the car door and caused me to be bitten by the tiger? Would you go to jail?" Shen Qingyu immediately became nervous, but quickly regained her composure, looking aggrieved. "Sister Li, you can't just arbitrarily accuse me because I lost my arm." Ji-chuan also defended her. "Li Shu, ever since you woke up, you've been causing trouble again and again. I've had enough of you. How could such a kind girl like Qingyu do something like that? You should reflect on yourself properly in the hospital. Qingyu, let's go." After speaking, he left without looking back, taking Shen Qingyu with him. Lei stepped forward to comfort me, but I shook my head and asked her to leave. I closed my eyes and recalled the time spent with Ji-chuan. We struggled together from nothing to achieving success in our careers. He once said he would love me forever. But in less than 7 years, the feelings changed. Sure enough, the words spoken in love only count during the time of love. A tear slid down the corner of the eye. It's time to end this relationship. But the company was built by Ji-chuan and me together. It belongs to me, and I won't give up a single share. From then on, I actively cooperated with the doctors for treatment, got fitted with a prosthetic, and my body recovered quickly. During this time, Ji-chuan never came to see me once. Not even a single phone call. I completely lost the last bit of affection I had for him. As soon as I was discharged, I immediately contacted a lawyer to draft the divorce agreement. All the property was to be split evenly between Ji-chuan and me, including the company shares. With the divorce agreement in hand, I hurried to the company, planning to find Ji-chuan to get his signature. When I arrived at the company, my colleagues all looked at me with sympathy. Although I had accepted the fact that I had lost my arm, a wave of bitterness still welled up in my heart. I went straight to Ji-chuan's office but found he was not there. I also glanced at Shen Qingyu's desk, and she was not there either. I called Lei over and asked where they had gone. Lei hesitated and said that after returning from the hospital that day, Ji-chuan took Shen Qingyu abroad, claiming that Shen Qingyu had suffered a work injury and needed to adjust her mood. Since the company was established, Ji-chuan has always been a workaholic, wishing he could work 365 days a year without a break. I can't even remember the last time we went on a trip, and the time the two of us spend together is pitifully little. But now he actually went abroad just because of that tiny wound on Shen Qingyu that didn't even bleed, and has been gone for more than half a month. But their matters have nothing to do with me anymore. I placed the divorce agreement on Ji-chuan's desk. And just as I was about to leave, I realized something seemed to be missing today. I suddenly looked up at Lei. "Where did Tuan go? Why haven't I seen it today?" Lei sobbed and said, "Sister Li, that day Tuan, for some reason, scratched Shen Qingyu with a paw. President Ji got angry and had someone chase Tuan away. I originally planned to bring it back to the company after President Ji left, but as soon as I went downstairs, I found that Tuan had been hit by a car and died." I felt the world spin around me, an endless wave of sorrow crashing over me. Tuan Tuan is a stray cat that Ji Chuan and I found together. When we first met Tuan Tuan, she was very weak, so skinny that she was just skin and bones, which made me really unable to bear it, so in the end, we took her in. Since we started taking care of her, Ji Chuan and I's company has gradually gotten on track. Ji Chuan also jokingly called her the lucky cat, and from then on, Tuan Tuan stayed at the company. Gradually, she became rounder and cuter, and all the employees liked her very much. Every time I came to the company, she would cling to me. I have raised her for 4 years, so it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say she is like my half-daughter. She has also been with Ji Chuan for 4 years. Witnessing the company's step-by-step development, how could Ji Chuan be so heartless? I clenched my fist tightly. Yeah, even I, who have been by his side for 7 years, can abandon him without hesitation when facing Shen Qingyu, let alone a cat. But Ji Chuan underestimated how important Tuan Tuan is to me. Tuan Tuan has always had a good temper. I don't believe she would scratch someone for no reason. I went straight to check the surveillance footage. On the footage, Shen Qingyu was squatting in front of Tuan Tuan, saying something. The next moment, Shen Qingyu grabbed Tuan Tuan and forcefully twisted her back. Tuan Tuan cried out in pain but didn't fight back, only struggling to escape her grasp. However, Shen Qingyu pulled Tuan Tuan back again, her long nails digging into Tuan Tuan's flesh. Only then did Tuan Tuan, feeling the pain, swipe at Shen Qingyu. I was so angry that my eyes turned red. Why did Shen Qingyu have to take out her anger on a little kitten who didn't understand anything? How much pain must Tuan Tuan have felt? She surely didn't understand why I didn't protect her and let others bully her. Shen Qingyu, with the grudge of losing an arm plus Tuan Tuan's death, our old and new hatreds will be settled together. And Ji Chuan, I've changed my mind now. Why is it that the company Ji Chuan and I built together has him as the CEO while I only get shares? In terms of ability, I am no less capable than him. Since he thinks Shen Qingyu is pure and kind, let's see if Shen Qingyu will still treat him the same way without the CEO halo. I quickly convened a shareholders meeting. Although I currently hold fewer shares than Ji Chuan, many shareholders have long been critical of his decision to abandon the company and go traveling with Shen Qingyu. Moreover, since many contracts since the company's founding were negotiated by me, it can be said that I am definitely not inferior to Ji Chuan as CEO. Some shareholders thought I was unfit for the position because of my disability, but after seeing me with prosthetics indistinguishable from a normal person, they no longer opposed. They all expressed their willingness to stand by my side. According to the regulations, as long as more than 2/3 of the shareholders agree to replace the president, it would be useless even if Ji Chuan held the most shares. I decisively remodeled Ji Chuan's office into a style I liked, and the nameplate on the desk was changed from Ji Chuan to my name, Li Shu. Previously, Ji Chuan had moved the secretary's desk into the president's office for Shen Qingyu. I had Shen Qingyu's desk thrown away and informed HR to tell her that she had been dismissed. By the time Ji Chuan hurried back from abroad with Shen Qingyu after receiving the news, I had already firmly taken the president's position. Bang! The office door was forcefully pushed open by Ji Chuan. He saw me sitting in the seat that once belonged to him, eyes blazing with fury. Li Shu, I turned around and looked at him with a smile. Ji Chuan, from now on please call me President Li. Also, has no one ever taught you that before entering the CEO's office, you need to report to my secretary first? Ji Chuan was burning with anger, unable to believe that I had snatched away his CEO position. Li Shu, how can a cripple like you be the CEO? You should be grateful that I don't mind supporting you. You actually dared to hold a shareholders meeting behind my back. You must have used some tricks to win over those shareholders. This must be Ji Chuan's true feelings, thinking that without an arm, I would have to live under his thumb. Unfortunately, I, Li Shu, have never been a coward. I sneered and looked at him coldly. Ji Chuan, I already asked you for a divorce at the hospital. Where do you get the confidence to think that just because I lost an arm, I should obediently stay at home and accept your charity? Besides, don't forget that we founded the company together, and my abilities are no less than yours. Ji Chuan looked at me in disbelief. You actually want to divorce me? Who else do you think would want you besides me? Hurry up and hold a shareholders meeting to announce that the president position is still mine. I'll just pretend this never happened and will take good care of you for the rest of your life. I don't understand. Is Ji-Chuan unable to understand human language? I have made it very clear that I want a divorce from him. Where does he get the confidence to think that I can't live without him? Do I not have a life without a man? His condescending, patronizing tone really makes him seem hypocritical, since he wants to hold a shareholders meeting so badly. I'll let him have it and show him who the real CEO in the shareholders' eyes is. The shareholders soon arrived at the conference room, and as they called out President Lee one after another, Ji-Chuan's face grew darker and darker. Ji-Chuan ignored my presence and directly told the shareholders in the tone of a CEO that I was only temporarily acting as CEO, and now that he was back, the CEO position rightfully belonged to him. I underestimated Ji-Chuan's shamelessness. I didn't expect him to skip the voting process entirely and just give me the title of acting CEO, but it depends on whether the shareholders agree. As soon as he finished speaking, waves of doubts arose from below. President Lee's position was approved by all of us shareholders. She is our president. Yeah, don't you like traveling with your secretary? Now that you've lost the president position, you can go every day without any problem. During this period, Ji-Chuan's actions had long since caused him to lose everyone's support. No one was willing to believe him. Ji-Chuan, furious and humiliated, suddenly kicked over the chair beside him. What do you mean? How long have I been gone that you've even changed the CEO? She's disabled, a woman. Can she really manage the company well? Sitting beside me, General Manager Zhong couldn't help but speak up. As the CEO, do you think it's appropriate to abandon the company for over half a month? No one in the entire company can reach you. If something really happened to the company, by the time you come back, it would be too late. Since General Manager Lee took office, she has secured the 2 major projects in Chengdong that you had been unable to close. I believe General Manager Lee can lead our company to better development. As soon as the words were spoken, the shareholders expressed their agreement one after another. Ji-Chuan was so angry that he was speechless. I pushed the divorce agreement over and looked at him mockingly. Ji-Chuan, hurry up and sign it. If you can behave yourself, the shares you hold are enough to support you for the rest of your life. Obviously, Ji-Chuan could hardly bear this humiliation. He picked up the pen and signed the agreement with 2 swift strokes, pressing so hard it seemed like he wanted to pierce the paper. After signing, he raised his head, glared hatefully at everyone present, and finally fixed his gaze on me. You think I care about this lousy company? Without me, it will collapse sooner or later. I don't believe a woman like you can be that capable. Just wait, I will definitely build a company stronger than this one, and one day you'll be begging me. After saying that, he turned and left, looking at his back. I vaguely recalled the time when we just closed our first deal. Back then, Ji-Chuan was excitedly spinning me around, saying it was thanks to me that we succeeded, and that I was an indispensable part of the company. But now, he says that I will definitely drive the company to bankruptcy, and that the company can't survive without him. He is wrong. I will only manage the company better than he did. Ji-Chuan and I quickly completed the divorce procedures, and Shen Qingyu was openly together with Ji-Chuan. On the day of the divorce, Shen Qingyu linked arms with Ji-Chuan and arrogantly appeared in front of me. Sister Lee, I'm really sorry. But President Ji loves me. But you, how can you remarry after losing your arm? After saying that, she covered her mouth and laughed, her eyes full of pride. I slapped her with my prosthetic hand. I have to say, the force from metal is really strong. Shen Qingyu's face immediately swelled up, and blood trickled from the corner of her mouth. Shen Qingyu screamed, and Ji-Chuan wanted to rush over and hit me, but he was stopped by my bodyguard. If you want such a scumbag, then take him. I wiped my prosthetic limb and got into the car without any hesitation. Leaving, I heard Ji-Chuan needed a large sum of money to start his business, and he planned to sell all the shares the company held. I arranged for someone to buy all the shares he held, and now I am the person with the most shares in the company, making my position as president even more secure. I have to say, Ji-Chuan does have some ability. He actually secured several big deals in a short time. quickly putting the company back on track. It seems he has targeted our company. Whenever there is a deal from us, he will stop at nothing to snatch it away. We have already lost several orders during this period. Ji Chuan started frequently attending business events with Shen Qingyu, publicly claiming she is his wife. My heart no longer stirs even the slightest ripple. I only think about how to snatch the order from Ji Chuan's hands. During a bidding, Ji Chuan once again maliciously took our project away with a low price. He held Shen Qingyu by the waist, a look of disdain on his face. I told you, how could a woman like you possibly compare to me? A cripple is a cripple. You should just stay at home. Shen Qingyu also chimed in beside me. How could she possibly compare to President Ji? The two of them flattered each other as they walked away. Lei stood by my side, speaking up for me. President Li, after all, you and President Ji have 7 years of history. How could he say that about you? If it weren't for their malicious competition, this deal would definitely be ours. Yes, even an outsider would think that after 7 years together. He wouldn't be so ruthless, but he only wants to belittle me and prove that he's better than me. I said lightly, no rush, they won't be laughing for long. That night, a video went viral on the internet. The woman's desperate cries for help in the video starkly contrasted with the man in the car comforting another woman who had scraped her arm. The woman's piercing screams as she was torn by the tiger were heartbreaking. And then the man actually closed the car door and walked away without even glancing at the bitten woman. Netizens have been condemning this couple one after another. Oh my God, what kind of people are they? Didn't they hear that woman being bitten so badly? Even if they couldn't help, they could at least make an emergency call. The woman in the car only had a slight scrape with no blood, and that man was already so nervous. The woman outside the car had her arm bitten down to the bone. Even strangers wouldn't just stand by and do nothing when seeing this scene. What is the relationship between those three? The online comments grew increasingly intense. And soon someone dug up the identities of the three of us. Netizens have sharp analytical skills. They noticed that originally the three of us were from the same company, but now we belonged to 2 different companies, so they guessed that Ji Chuan and I used to be married. And Shen Qingyu naturally became the other woman. The companies cooperating with Ji Chuan also saw the video. They thought Ji Chuan was so cold-blooded that he might turn against them during cooperation. So they all terminated their partnerships. These orders ultimately ended up in our company's hands, and the shareholders have been grinning from ear to ear these past few days. How can there be a woman with 2 such faces? Shen Qingyu doesn't dare to go out at all now. As soon as she steps out, people recognize her, point fingers at her, and even throw eggs. Ji Chuan came straight to the company to find me, his eyes staring at me as if they were poisoned. Looking into Ji Chuan's eyes, I was a bit stunned. I remembered when I just married him. The way he looked at me was always full of love. At that time, he must have loved me for a lifetime. But people's hearts change easily. Nothing can guarantee the word forever. Li Shu, why did you do this? Do you know that Qingyu is so scared she doesn't even dare to leave the house? It turned out she came to confront me on behalf of Shen Qingyu. The company lost an order and didn't come to me. As soon as Shen Qingyu got into trouble, he showed up. He really loves her. I looked at him coldly. These things were all done by Shen Qingyu herself. What? Is she afraid of what others will say after doing them? Ji Chuan shouted at me. But you're not dead, right? It was just a cat, so why are you so fixated on Qingyu? I couldn't believe what I heard. It turned out that in the heart of the man I loved for 7 years, losing an arm was nothing. As long as I was alive, that was all that mattered. I laughed heartily, laughing until tears came to my eyes. When in love, I can only hold you up to the sky. When not in love, I am the lowest and most despicable weed. Li Shu, do you really have to take things this far? After all, we were married for 7 years. Ji Chuan, suppressing his anger, pulled my thoughts back to the present with his tone. I was not moved in the slightest. Ji Chuan, when you took Shen Qingyu away and left me to be bitten by the tiger, did you ever think about the 7 years we were married? When you took her abroad for a trip, did you ever think about me, alone in the hospital, gritting my teeth through rehabilitation? When you drove Tuan Tuan away for her, did you ever think about the tragic scene of Tuan Tuan being hit by a car? You keep saying we were married for 7 years. But what about when you called me a cripple and stabbed me with knives? What about when you maliciously competed and took every order from the company? Although I told myself it wasn't worth losing my temper over someone like him, hearing his shameless words, I still couldn't help but roar at him. Whenever I threw out a question, Ji Chuan's face grew paler by a shade. I took a deep breath to suppress the bitterness in my heart and spoke coldly. Since you never once considered the 7 years of marriage between us, you can't blame me for not cherishing the past. As long as you stop maliciously competing with our company, I won't bother to pick a fight with you. I had the security guard escort Ji Chuan out. He didn't say a word, but before leaving, he gave me a deep look. Perhaps Ji Chuan was afraid I still had leverage over them and no longer tried to snatch our company's orders. The company is developing better and better. And after a few years, I gradually established several branch offices. I have also put the shadows that Ji Chuan and Shen Qingyu brought me behind me. At the same time, I began to dedicate myself to public welfare for people with disabilities. I hope to use my own experience to inspire those with physical disabilities, telling them that everyone can make a breakthrough. For those who are poor and cannot afford prosthetics, I always provide help free of charge, with only one requirement: to live positively and not give up on themselves. That day, just as I was about to enter the company, a disheveled man stopped me. The man looked at the towering company in front of him with shining eyes. "Shushu, it's me, Ji Chuan." I was stunned for a moment, unable to connect the well-dressed Ji Chuan from before with the person who now looked like a homeless man. I said coldly, "What do you want?" Ji Chuan clenched his fists tightly and said bitterly, "Back then, my company's cash flow broke down. Shen Qingyu told me she knew an investor who could help inject funds. I believed her, thinking the company could get through the tough times. But I never expected Shen Qingyu to team up with others to cheat me and run off with the company's last money. However, I heard she didn't have a good ending either. That man's wife broke her leg. Now I can only work odd jobs every day. You have no idea how miserable I am." I really had no patience to listen to Ji Chuan rambling on, so I interrupted him. "None of this has anything to do with me. What do you want from me?" Ji Chuan's face stiffened as he looked at my expression. "Shushu, look, we're both single now. Let's remarry. Don't worry, the CEO position will still be yours. I just need to be a manager or something. You know, my abilities are definitely not a problem. I really don't understand. Do I look like someone who would collect junk? How come I never realized before that Ji Chuan is such a blindly confident person?" I looked at him with disgust. "Ji Chuan, are you daydreaming? What makes you think I would remarry a scumbag like you? You got tricked by Shen Qingyu, but that's your own fault. I have no hobby of collecting junk." Ji Chuan looked panicked and tried to reach out to hold my hand, but fortunately, the security guard stepped forward and stopped him. "Shushu, I've really changed. I will definitely love you well from now on. Even if I can't be a manager, being a regular employee is fine too." "Shushu." I had no intention of letting Ji Chuan waste any more of my time, so I had the security guard drive him away and then went upstairs. For several days afterward, Ji Chuan kept waiting for me at the company entrance, but I didn't want to talk to him anymore and left immediately each time. It wasn't until nearly a month later that Ji Chuan gave up trying to find me. The next time I heard news about Ji Chuan was on the news. He had fallen into gambling, owed a large amount of high-interest loans he couldn't repay, and was eventually driven to desperation by debt collectors, leading him to jump into a river and commit suicide. I couldn't help but feel a chill of fear, suspecting that Ji Chuan must have already been in debt when he was looking for me, and that he came with the intention of getting back together with me to borrow money to pay off his debts. Fortunately, I had already seen his true colors long ago. I feel somewhat emotional. I never expected that Ji Chuan and I would end up like this. I believe that at that moment, the Ji Chuan who made vows to me truly thought about forever. But people always change. From the moment he chose to leave me and take Shen Qingyu away, it was destined that we would part ways. I no longer need to rely on anyone to live. I can create my own miracles on my own.